What's up, guys? Welcome to Roaring Podcast, where we interview experts in tech and product management, providing insights and tips on how to digitize and automate your business processes. My name is Jesper Kask, and I'm your host. In this episode, we dive into digitizing the construction industry, together with Lotta Wibeck, Digitalization Program Lead at Skanska. We talk about the challenges of digitizing the industry, what processes that are most important to digitize, and how Roblox can help bring more digital talent to construction. Enjoy. Okay, so hi Lotta, it's great to have you here.
Hi, nice to be here.
Welcome to the show. We'll dive straight into questions because I have a lot for you, and the first one I always like to ask our guest is, what do you love the most about digitization?
I really love that you use the word love. I love that digitalization will really help the industry I love to kind of stop wasting time of solving the same problem all over again. Instead, can it give them the superpower to solve the problems that is important and are new? That is what I love with digitalization.
And you work at Skanska, which is in a huge company in the construction industry, which might be seen as a very traditional industry for a lot of people. What's your take on that, and what are some of the challenges in your specific industry?
It's a lot of things that people need to understand with our industry. I have a lot of them on that I tell people all the time because in some conversation, I did directly understand that they don't understand construction. And first of all, for example, in Skanska at the construction site, if we have 100 people on the site, it's just 20 people that is Skanska. The rest of them is external. So you're thinking about the digital and different tools to understand that the tools needs to be usable for everybody. And if we think about all this with firewalls and accesses and cyber security, it's kind of tough to understand that on the site you need to bring in people in all these systems. Otherwise, it's just kind of it will never be in effect. And one thing that I'm both kind of think is super duper cool is that my colleagues out on the site, they build their factory at the same time they build the product. We are often compared to kind of the car industry or something like that, and think that that is quite silly because last time I looked at that industry, they have their kind of factories standing there and they can fix them. But my people, my colleagues, and the industry people, they are taking care of that at the same time. And I always want to kind of mention that some of our construction sites are in the middle of Stockholm, in the middle of a city, and to understand also how we get the material there, how we get people there, and all the people around us, or we need to take care of third part that can be children, can be people living close. I think that is also something that is a bit unique for our industry. And then of course the weather. The weather is one of the most super duper important data that we need to kind of have in different scenarios. What was the weather? It's kind of the concrete, for example, needs to have a certain degree to burn, and also of course that it's very windy sometimes, it's raining, and all these people are outside for a long time before we have a house. But if we construct a bridge or a tunnel, that's also, so I would say that we are good at doing the same house, the same bridge, and that is totally a lot of things that is the same. But the surrounding, the environment, the local, and also the soil, you cannot imagine how much different surprises, even if you kind of do a lot of investigation before, a lot of very not so fun surprises can come when it's come to our soil. So and why it's so fantastic with the industry is that also nowadays, just 5 years ago, I didn't think that the technology was for us. It was too expensive. It was a lot of silo solutions that you need to bring together. And of course, the cost. It's very expensive with all the basic hardware if we think about sensors and things that we need in construction and to capture the data. So I would say that now is the time for us. So if we are compared to the fishing industry and others, I think also those industries is all about that the technology needs to be for us.
Mm. And in what way can digitization and automation help drive the construction industry forward, in your opinion?
My opinion is, of course, that when you have the right data and you have it so you can be proactive, not as we are very, very reactive today. We kind of look at the data, the few data we have in after everything is kind of it's too late. Everybody understands that if we can capture data with sensor or cameras or scanners or whatever that can release people, because I also tell people that capture data, that is not about a lot of apps that people are capturing data. That is so silly to think that that would be the thing. In my perfect world, they have very few apps, but we are a connected site is solving the data capture for the people.
Mm. And what are some of the examples of the processes that you've been working on and implemented, and what has the effect been?
I would say that we have been and are doing a lot of piloting and testing, to be really honest, and we have what I call Hollywood project here and there. All are kind of Skanska and CCP are the big and even small ones, but we don't really get it to going for the industry as the ordinary way of working.
Mm.
And that is it's a lot of reasons. Our industry is kind of built up that you earn money on us not being especially good. It's a time-based industry. You take, you paid by time, how much time you spend. So it's a lot of business models that needs to change for us to really do this. Talk about whole processes and things like that, because you need different tech companies, a lot of them, to work together and give you a service that you pay for. Today we buy licenses and we do it for like 10 and 12 different, and the data is captured in this different system, and still people are moving the data by manually. But of course we have sunshine histories in construction. We have proved that digitalization is for us, but it's still a lot of silos, it's a lot of dots here and there that is magic, but we need to kind of start scaling it up and give this as the ordinary, this is the way we work, as you do in your private life.
Mm.
You kind of trust the data and trust the technology. You need to do that also on the sites, and for the whole life cycle. I think people, when they talk to me, they think a lot of the construction site because that is where my heart is. But I realized for a long time ago that it's the whole life cycle of the building. So we need to kind of even work together, for the maintenance part and the customers and I myself live in a house, so of course that they are the last on the life cycle, the users of the buildings.
Mm. And you mentioned sort of the data input and the data life cycle. Is that one of the sort of biggest hurdles that you have at the moment in order to digitize processes, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I tell that the people is the goal, not the data, because you can have data, but if nobody uses it the smartest way, it's nothing. So we have the two, what you say, the two important stuff here is the data to be kind of captured and in a context that it makes sense. But because again, you can capture data like a lunatic, but if it's not in the context for people to understand and take decision and feel calm and feel in control, then it's it's not nothing to do. So at the same time we have the people, a lot of people that you need to kind of start very small, so they start their own understanding, their own journey in how to use data. It can be quite overwhelming to get a dashboard with blah 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 with a lot of stuff. Instead you give them what helps them spot on, then you have them on in their journey, and then they want more. That people want more when they get good tools. That is
Mm.
just how it is. So we have people and the data, that little marriage that needs to start
Mm.
growing.
And what kind of data are you guys using, or do you want to use?
I think the three basic and the biggest one for me personally is of course for the safety. Um, Everybody wants us to earn money for the operation efficiency, of course, because if you don't earn money, you will die as a company. But if you die as a person, that is, you need to come home safely. So everything regarding safety data that we share in the industry, that is kind of it's a must. But now we have the sustainability part also. It's people want to do right, but on the construction site, with all the materials, all the machines, all the starting hiccups in the morning, they need to be supported taking the right decision when it comes to different choices. It's just kind of not not kind to put them on an individual uh, when we can have this data, what everything is built of, and all that serving them. um, so that is the three areas. And of course, if you don't, if you don't earn money, you you also need to, you are lost.
Mm. So what's crucial in order to change the industry from a digital standpoint? You mentioned sort of getting these, you scaling up and getting these standardized way of doing things. But if you just elaborate on that, what's crucial in order to change the industry?
As our industry has very little margins out on site, for example, we need to have services from the tech companies. We need tech companies to get together, do a service that is more solving a lot without us knowing. As a Volvo, I don't really care, what's inside the hood of the engine and stuff. I just drive it and hope also that it's very safe for me. And it's the same here. We need to focus on our product and on our factory. We need help here, and I think also that we have a lot of tech companies that they are prop tech contact. Everybody kinds to build silos instead of, I just need tech and I need tech to come together, and if they are what they are, if they are hardware, software, cloud or whatever, but they need to start having their kind of, now we want to be part of the construction industry, and real estate, of course. So we come together and do these all smart things, because the traceability is also key. And how the heck do you do that by having manual steps between? It doesn't matter if they are kind of, the most famous tech companies in the world, they are still a silo when people are moving between. So I would say that I want them to come together and help us in this
Mm,
journey.
mm. So in an ideal world going forward, what does the future look like for you guys?
The future is that nobody talks about this, I think, because it's just ridiculous. I don't talk about my banking or anything in the private life. I also have seen that the people I do this for, the people on site, or whoever, customer, whatever, people just want things to be working. And often they can be, but they don't know what is the problem really, because in their private life they can do a lot of, moving around. You get the link there and you just have it there, and here it's it's like going back to stone age. For example, I do this work together right now with my IT department and Microsoft regarding paperless, because in the site today, the site is hit with paper. So it can be quite ridiculous to talk about, high fly stuff on top of everything, when we still have all these folders. We have kind of paper that needs signatures in real time to get some work starting. So today in our industry, we don't have time to talk about we need to do it in a perfect order, or sort things out this before that. We need to sort everything now, because it's a bit late, and a lot of people also have understood that our industry is in the sustainable, area, quite one of the worst, when it and affect a lot. So we time is not, time is the only thing that you just, you just lose it. and you know, you can lose money, but you can get back money, but you can never get back time. So I think it's just to start solving in every angle. So I do this paperless thing because it's kind of makes my heart and my I get so sad when I understand how much that is still based on that analog way of, you know, capturing information, and how much time people spend on getting that one that they see as a seven, and then you have this kind of, the data is not good because you can do mistakes by having handwriting and everything. So nothing is wrong today. It's the only thing is that is wrong is to sit on your hands and think that somebody else will solve it, or it's better to kind of do nothing than I do nothing wrong. That type of thinking, and I kind of getting a bit irritated nowadays also on all this. We can take small steps. I don't know about that either anymore. I think we need to do quite big steps now.
Yeah. And another thing that I wanted to ask you, because obviously the construction industry is male dominated today, and it's sort of seen as older men generally. What can be done to convert more digital natives, let's say millennials and younger people, to your industry, and especially women and girls?
And you're totally right here. I think this is, and also the tech industry, the two industries that I'm part of and have been spending my whole life working in are both in that area, and or kind of, you know, a lot of men and a lot of I don't know how to say it, but it's also a lot of things that people talk about. It's a heavy industry, and I think with robotics and a lot of automation, uh, you don't need to have muscles, and girls can have muscles too. And so I think the physical is just kind of, I will say, very bad. Is that is bullshit. That you can kind of work your around it, and I also think that a lot of work in the future is looking a lot at as gaming, and that would be kind of a cool thing with our industry if we can use that capability in a smart way to, you know, steal the best people from other industries, because you work in this, you know, digital twin, that you have the reality and you have the digital reality also in the same, and people find it quite nice to simulate and try out different scenarios and have this kind of digital equipment that is, I would use the word cool to work with. um, and still that we don't need to separate men and women, but it is a problem, and I think most of us women don't like to be kind of, yeah, it's good that you are here, Lotta, because you are a kind of a female. You want to be there because you are the best, not because of that. But again, it's people, it's humanity, it's people with people. We need to stop being, you know, like stupid and bad to each other. You know, passion, love, and take care of each other, and don't use bad language and all this. I can be so kind of, you'd be so shocked when you realize that all this shit is still going on, and why people, how are they, how are they as persons when they like to be bad to each other. It's kind of, you really want to cry. So of course, take about away all these old sayings and muscles, because you can have it, and you and also kind of, I think still we are a bit, when it comes also to the salary and who is having kids at home and everything like that. So no, I didn't think I would take up that battle, but I have realized that with my few years left, I will battle for. It's totally bullshit that female male, that we separate and talk like this, and that we don't see that the best perfect team, that is the team when we have different people with different strengths, with different capabilities, and it's so fun to go to work with that kind of, surrounding. You just jump out of bed every morning and want to be there with your colleagues and do magic together, because you need to have every capability to do the best. That is just how it is.
And when we spoke earlier, we touched upon a really fun subject in terms of gaming and the construction industry, talking about the games that are growing massively today, like Roblox. And obviously, kids today, they love to build, create, demolish, all of that. How do you think that the construction industry can get better on in terms of capitalizing on that and really recruiting all of these people who seem to enjoy this part of the industry, in a sense?
I think it's just your imagination that it's what you say, stand in blocking this. I think people talk a lot about this, but I not have seen any piloting or anything. And bring the kids in. My 4 grandkids, they are doing Roblox, and I don't understand anything. And as you say, demolition, they'd like to do that also. And perhaps that is what we will do in the future, to kind of, you know, not have life cycles. We before our buildings were standing for hundreds and hundreds of years, but I don't know if that will be true when we now start, building different materials and things like that. So we need to demolish and know what material and compared to the climate and every footprint we can do with not having been in control. But of course you can do very cool stuff, and I think I have heard other pods and people talking, bring it in for kids now, all these things that they need to be, the digital is already in their backbone, in their spine. They are breathing it, they don't know anything else. So make use of this and perhaps already in school, understanding that you can have and you need to understand a little bit more. I think now they just do it for really fun, but you can really put in, for example, the sustainable pieces. I think my 9-year-old granddaughter, she understands a lot regarding what we are doing to the earth right now. So you can just, elaborate on that. Kids, they are like what you say. They have no filter.
Sponges.
And that is so lovely. So of course our industry could do much more than perhaps talk about. I can do much more. Talk about this, that gaming is a way, and also to bring in kids early. I try to influence that. We have, for example, a new master program now that is starting. That is an upbuild on that you do digital for 2 years also for construction, because what has happened is that people that comes to us, they learn old digital stuff. You need to kind of, everything needs to change, everything needs to understand that what we have been doing for 100 years, if it's the academical side or if it's the construction material, everybody needs to change. I think that is the fair thing in our industry, that nobody, I think I have said that, they don't need to sit in a corner and cry, because everybody needs to change, and that is nice. Then we can do that together. But it's a lot of, I just see this as opportunities.
Mm. And as we're coming up on time now, Lotta, what would you leave the listeners with?
I would leave with that without people, humans, it doesn't matter how much digital or how much data you have. So this is a human thing. So in the name of humanity, more people to construction and real estate, then we can do magic.
Yeah. And obviously, the construction industry has a really cool side to it. I was glad that you were able to come on the show and share it with us. So hopefully we can bring some Roblox players into your business sooner
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah.
later.
That was the goal.
Super.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Lotta. It was great having you on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You've been listening to an episode of a Roaring podcast by Roaring.io. Feel free to share it with your friend, colleague, or peer if you liked it. If you wish to stay connected to us, don't forget to subscribe to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.